Hi folks, Florida Man here. Today I'm bringing you one perspective on a game I played with several players I've now had a few interactions with. The game was called Perigord, and it was played on Backstabber. What follows is the Russian perspective. It's good to see you again, and I appreciate you coming on and being able to discuss this game we played together again. And for the audience, which country were you?
I was playing Russia.
And I was France. And so this game, Perigord, was an interesting one, I thought. Why don't you tell me how it started off for you?
Well, Russia is a country that I've always kind of struggled with. This is the best I've ever done is Russia. And just sort of like ending with 10 centers and not being dead or being down to like 2. I just sort of like, I think the fundamental difficulty with Russia is that you're fighting a two-front war and it's really easy to overextend yourself and feel really good about 1903 and then find yourself being attacked all around and unable to hold anything. So I guess I just kind of wanted to not have that happen in this game because that's sort of been my experience with Russia until now. So I was sort of like, okay, I'm going to try not to make those same mistakes. And ultimately, this was a very stressful game for me. I don't know about for you, but the East was a mess for a long, long time, partially because I just kept going back and forth, partially because Turkey and I had some trouble establishing good relations from the beginning. And overall, looking back, it was really fun in terms of how unpredictable it was.
I had fun too. I think things were a little bit less chaotic in the West, but at the same time, my efforts were not exactly all shining examples of success. I mean, there were lots of setbacks, but I think that there weren't very many dramatic reversals on the West side. So the setbacks were things like, in spring 1901, you see here, I get bounced trying to move to the Channel and Piedmont. I mean, I knew that I was going to bounce in Piedmont because I found out about the Italian intent to move there. But the fact that I had to bounce in Piedmont at all was, and they got bounced in the Channel as well, was a little bit annoying and unorthodox to me. How are things with you, though, like from the beginning?
Well, I was feeling distrustful of everyone, as you often feel early on, and so kind of wanted to see how things played out before I strongly committed. And I guess that read to people as me not seeming like I wanted to ally with them, which maybe is true. But a couple of people were like, "Yeah, you're not sending a ton of press. Like, I don't know what's your deal." And Turkey especially was kind of like put off by the fact that I wasn't like automatically like, and here's what we're going to do in 1904 after we do this in 1903. You know what I mean? And it sort of seems a little bit ridiculous to. I mean, obviously there's discussions to be had, but there's only so much you can say before you see the opening moves, right? From my perspective. So I don't know if you.
I agree.
And so Turkey went to Armenia without telling me. Not thrilled about that.
Yeah, that's not encouraging.
And so yeah, I mean, I guess, I had friendly talks with everybody.
I guess you were probably expecting the bounce in Galicia.
No, actually.
Oh, right.
That was unplanned.
Well, I guess that's
it's been a minute, but
that's a frequent thing that happens between Austria and Russia anyway. Unplanned bounces in Galicia.
Yeah.
So.
I've got my press here, so I can double check anything. I'm pretty sure. I believe that was. Yep. Yeah. I think they expected obviously they kind of expected it. But yeah, they proposed the DMZ, and I sort of tentatively agreed to it, but enough that they probably. Anyhow, so it wasn't planned.
Anything else you want to note of the spring diplomacy?
I think that's about it. I mean, my goal was basically that I wanted you and Italy both to do well, to sort of balance out the board.
That makes sense. You need us powers that are in the southwestern sphere to do kind of well, I think, so that you'll have allies against England or Germany or Austria later on.
That's right.
Maybe Turkey.
And also, I think the specter of a possible AI, I think, is really important to keep Turkey from stabbing Russia.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Just like the specter of the RT is important to keep Austria and Italy from stabbing each other.
That is true. And here we see in the southeast a bunch of red lines. So I guess I know what you're talking about when you say that things were a little chaotic early on.
Yeah, so Austria bounced me in Romania. I guess they thought they were trying to AT maybe. So the best, I mean, basically, I'm glad that Germany let me into Sweden. That, otherwise, I would have been kind of, unhappy.
Yeah, that is interesting. Did you have any expectation that Austria or Turkey would be working with you here, or did you kind of see this hostility coming?
I expected Turkey's hostility. Even despite them saying that they're otherwise protest. They're, you know what I'm trying to say. Them protesting otherwise.
Yes.
Austria, however, seemed like maybe we could get some sort of action going against Turkey. So we had that possibility, and I sort of expected them to go along with that. So surprised a little bit, but not totally.
Well, that's too bad, but at least you aren't taken too off guard here. And you did get Sweden, so you do importantly get a build here.
Get a build, exactly.
Yeah, and Austria doesn't get a second build because Austria is doing some kind of a bounce with Italy for some reason.
Oh, I did forget to mention, in 1901, the first thing England wanted to do is an attack on Germany. So they proposed this really early. They're like, why don't you move north, and let's attack Germany together. And then they reversed course. They're like, once they got a sort of a sense of the board, they were like, actually, I don't want to do that. Some other time. And so it's good that I didn't open north.
It is probably
given the state of the South.
Probably for the best, yeah. Especially because of all this trouble that seems to be happening in the South. Yeah, if Turkey was actually really interested in this AT and had supported Austria into Romania, you'd have some problems, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thankfully, I guess Turkey wasn't that into Austria.
It seems like I think Turkey was a little bit hard to get off the ground with all around. At least that's sort of my sense of it, from my experience and apparently based on the board.
Interesting. Yeah. And Turkey went unopposed into Greece, which was kind of funny.
Right. Yeah, that was very weird. I think I encouraged them to do that. So a weird move, but still.
Yeah. And in the build phase, you build an army because you still feel like you're under attack in the south, I'm guessing. Turkey builds a fleet. Did you encourage that?
Yeah, I mean, there's pretty obvious, Lepanto potential here.
Yeah. Italy's moving as though that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy for Turkey to build a fleet in Smyrna. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess we'll look at spring. I'm curious as to when you and Turkey start to build a better relationship here, if that happens.
Yeah. Well, it struck me based on sort of, the way that Italy and Austria were working together, that they seem to have a high level of trust. And so I sort of feared that if I went in on some sort of AIR, which, spoiler alert, ends up happening eventually, that I would basically end up the odd one out. I don't know if those fears were really based in anything, but I preferred to stick with Turkey if I could.
Throughout this game, I did try to turn Austria and Italy against each other, and it was just continuously unsuccessful.
Yeah.
So I do think they were the closest two powers to each other.
And that's what they said. I think that in one of the messages on Discord, they said that they were, after the game, that they had been, coordinating everything since 1902 or something.
Yeah. I mean, so it's, if it's a solid alliance, it's a solid alliance. It's going to be
right. Good for them.
Yeah, exactly. Not all of us have such trusting relationships with our neighbors, but
I mean, when I'm playing Austria or Italy, I like it to be that way.
Yeah.
If I feel like I can trust the other person, and if you feel like you can't trust the other person, then you're kind of screwed. But
that's true. But if possible, it's good for it to be that way. You're right.
Absolutely.
And what's the battle plan here? What's going on? You're getting a lot fewer red lines, so that's good.
They let me into Romania unopposed. Turkey gets back into Bulgaria. Austria is totally inefficient on land, but, supports Italy into Greece. I think in the north, things are a little bit interesting, perhaps.
Yeah, you seem to be simultaneously, you are moving against England with support from Germany, and you're also moving north to St. Pete, and Germany's also moving into Sweden. Tell the audience what's up with that.
So I think the idea here was that, as I recall, at this point I was still planning to sort of join in on some sort of delayed sea lion.
Well, I mean, the rest of us, Germany and I are definitely sea lioning it up right now. So.
Yeah. So as I recall, in this moment, I wanted to sort of, secure Scandinavia. I guess I felt a little bit more sure about the position in the south.
Makes sense.
So I felt safe taking that army north.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like what Germany had told me, if I recall correctly, was that Germany figured you'd be happy getting rid of England as a rival in Scandinavia, and so you wouldn't mind too much losing Sweden because you're at net zero. You're not really going down anything because you get Norway. Right. Is that how you felt, or were you annoyed to have him in Sweden?
No, I think I was aware that he was going to move to Sweden. That was part of that he would support me into Norway, and I would let him into Sweden. As we'll see, maybe I changed my mind about that.
But initially, that was the plan.
That was the plan. That was the plan.
Oh, so here I see England is supporting you in retaking Sweden. Then you also take Norway. So yes. This is you beginning to gain control over most of Scandinavia now.
This was the me changing my mind about that I just mentioned.
I see. That is interesting. My perception was different. I was thinking that Germany had been presumptuous and had been incorrect in figuring out your priorities, but you actually changed your mind. I
actually changed my mind. Yeah, Germany. Now, in retrospect, maybe I would have been better not to do this and let Germany just convoy to England like they wanted to, because that was sort of the plan that we had talked about, is that they would move into Sweden and then eventually they would convoy to like Edinburgh or something.
Yeah.
Then I would get Scandinavia, and they would get Edinburgh, which makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds like not a bad trade-off.
This was England's idea.
Naturally.
And I went back and forth and sort of said, you know what? I still have problems in the south potentially. I don't want to. I just need another build. I think I'll take the 2 builds now instead of waiting and wishing I'd done this.
No, that's fair. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Germany wasn't thrilled, but they were a little bit too trusting because I was able to sort of explain it away a couple times. And not that they ever believed me necessarily, like my bullshit excuses. Actually, maybe I was honest here. England persuaded me to do this, and so I did it. But after this, there were times when I gave them a couple bullshit excuses. I don't know if they bought it, but it worked out either way. So you got to try, right?
I think sometimes you do. And in the south, I see you're finally beginning to work with Turkey because you.
Right, which is what I'd wanted to do all along, and sort of get this. Get this partnership off the ground. What's that?
I said, get this juggernaut started.
Exactly right. Already, it's fall of 1902. What are we waiting for? They kept being like, oh, we've got to sort of disguise it. We've got to disguise, which makes sense. But at some point, you got to start making moves. Mm-hmm. Especially with this, continued partnership between Italy and Austria, which I felt, rightly so, is very strong.
Yeah. And, with this, you reduce Austria down to home centers because, really, Austria and Italy's trust is very strong, but they haven't really been able to do a lot militarily yet.
Yeah, exactly.
They have this is them finally getting into Aegean Sea, and that's the big advancement they make so far.
Right.
So yeah, if you and Turkey hang together, it feels like you could just sweep through them.
Which is what I'd hoped would happen. We would make quick work of Austria. Italy would join in and see that Austria wasn't going to be around for long. And so they might as well take Trieste and just, make out what they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here we see that the Juggernaut looks quite strong. You got 2 army builds. Turkey has a new fleet. And the shape of the Russian and the Turkish units arrayed on this map looks really well poised to take these remaining 3 very vulnerable-looking Austrian dots. Austria is forced to destroy Austria's only fleet, so now you and Turkey together actually do have more fleets than the Austro-Italian alliance, although your fleets are not, in a position where you can deploy them all effectively right now.
That's right.
But just on paper, you guys are stronger. We'll see how that goes. Why did you decide to build an army in St. Pete, by the way, if you don't mind my asking?
Good question. Why did I do that?
Feels like I don't know, like the least threatening build you could make relative to England and Germany, who might have been worried if you built another fleet there in either the North Coast or South Coast.
Yeah, I think I also wanted the possibility of taking it south if I needed to follow.
That makes sense, yeah.
Just because I didn't expect to take it into Barents and Norwegian, which In
retrospect, maybe you would have.
And I think also you had been like, please build an army.
Oh, really? Maybe you're right.
At some point you did. I don't know if it was here, but you did do that at some point. And I was like,
Yeah, I could see myself doing that because I have lots of fleets. I wouldn't really want room. I wouldn't really feel there was room for another powerful navy in the area.
Exactly. So I guess I just wanted to sort of signal non-aggression. Should I have built a fleet? Who knows?
I don't know either. That's an interesting question, though.
It's always the question. But
go into the spring.
Oh, also because I wanted to go to Finland.
So you do go to Finland. Would have made your Scandinavian holdings very secure if Germany didn't choose to choose this moment to take another shot at some of your Scandinavian centers.
Yeah.
And go for
I did not expect them to do that convoy. That caught me off guard. But good on them.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't expect them to do that either. I thought that was I think I was critical of that decision. I thought it was a little bit unnecessary to divide Germany's forces and send everything that Germany had against you instead of the person that Germany and I were fighting.
Right. I think they were just mad at me. Understandably.
Yeah, it is understandable given that what you've described about their moves being about your moves rather here being earlier being a stab. So
yeah, I
do kind of get them wanting to make a nuisance of themselves.
They certainly did. The bounce in Silesia was not planned.
Oh. Well, good guess on both of your parts then.
Mm-hmm.
Elsewhere,
I lose Galicia.
But on the bright side, you have a unit in Warsaw and a unit in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And you've still got your units in Romania and Sev.
Correct.
And interestingly, Turkey does manage to advance into Greece in this season and destroys the Italian fleet there.
Yes.
So, in theory, this war of the juggernaut against the Austro-Italian alliance is going well.
It appears that way, right?
Yeah, but now we see, even though it looked as if Italy was, doing something to Austria by moving into Trieste, it could have looked that way anyway. Italy supports Austria, takes Serbia off of Turkey, and so it's one step forward and one step back. And also, Turkey kind of unfortunately makes an unfortunate decision about which unit to put in Bulgaria. Before, Turkey had an unsuccessful attempt at a convoy. It's too bad Turkey didn't try that same thing here because really an army is what you need in Bulgaria. And
this move was kind of the unraveling of the juggernaut.
Yeah.
In a sense. I mean,
it's not a great turn for you guys.
No. There's just no reason to put a fleet in Bulgaria East Coast if you're gonna work with me. Was sort of my point of view.
Yeah, the only thing it can do is attack Romania or move to Khan.
Right.
So if you're going to do that, you should just move to Khan.
Move to Khan, exactly, because where is that army in Khan going?
Yeah.
It's just a huge traffic jam if you're going to try to get that fleet out.
Yeah.
Seems far more likely that you're going to attack me.
Yeah, I think Turkey must have been trying to anticipate the enemy's moves and counter them, and Turkey may have maybe made a couple of wrong guesses here, because Turkey didn't need to work. Turkey must have thought that this move to Bulgaria might bounce because maybe Aegean would move there. That's the only reason it really makes sense to try and pull Black Sea into Bulgaria. But I understand wanting to move Ankara to Khan because that move is almost certain to succeed here. The only way it doesn't is if Italy takes a shot at Khan that Italy has to know Italy can't make. So I see the short-term tactical logic of this. It's just, it really does put Turkey out of position for working with you.
Exactly. And that has a huge impact on what happens next. And as far as this turn goes, I mean, I expected to lose something in the north, and I did. But
you lose Sweden again, but regain Norway.
So this is sort of, if I just stuck with Germany and did what they wanted, maybe I would have had all of Scandinavia by now. So perhaps my impatience actually ended up not working out. But
maybe so.
It works out well for you.
On the bright side.
Now Germany is... Oh, yeah, this is the turn when you stabbed Germany.
Yep, with much encouragement from England mainly, but this is when I stabbed Germany, and possibly from you as well. But the main thing you did to encourage me was that you were attacking, fighting with Germany, and Germany was fighting with you.
So yeah, I think that's the upside of why I think it may have. So I'm saying it may have slowed me down in the long term, me picking a fight with Germany. But if I hadn't been picking a fight with Germany, you would not have stabbed Germany.
Nope.
So, weigh your options.
Yeah, it was definitely helpful to me. It made me feel It made me feel much more secure about doing this, and it was I was very appreciative.
Happy to oblige.
So this build phase, you have a destroy. You pick Finland.
So there was a long-standing thing of Turkey being expectant that Sev would be the thing to go here. And with a fleet Bulgaria East Coast, I couldn't pull the trigger on that.
To be honest, I don't know if it really makes sense for Sev to be what goes here.
That's why I didn't do it.
Yeah, I think if Turkey wanted that, I guess that's understandable. I don't think it makes a whole lot of tactical sense, because like if you and Turkey actually trusted each other a little bit, then you having that fleet is a good thing. Because it's necessary for defense, and because maybe eventually it could move into the Mediterranean, or it can at least help in the Black Sea in holding on to the things you guys have. But since there is apparently no trust there, I guess, and since Turkey's position now is really terrible, these two armies in Ankh and Khan, where are they going? This Bulgaria that cannot support anything, what's it going to do? This fleet in Greece that's completely unsupported, we know what's happening to that. We know it can't keep that space. The best thing it could do is maybe if Austria and Italy don't protect Albania, then it could retreat forward. But that's probably not going to happen. So, spring 1904, we see that Austria and Italy don't even... Austria tries to support Italy into Greece. Italy doesn't even think that this is an urgent thing. Italy just convoys to Albania to do that.
Yeah. So this was Italy. This was, I think, the only time Italy and Austria were not on the same page.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. And also interesting, you and Turkey bounce.
That was arranged just to make sure nobody could sneak in. Oh,
that's a shame, because, if you had instead used Romania to support Khan into Bulgaria, you guys would be sort of back in good position.
True. I was now I'm questioning if that was arranged. I know Turkey was really upset with me. I don't know if you want to know some of the press that.
I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm happy to know.
After Turkey was unhappy that they were under the impression that I would disband Sevastopol, and so after I changed my mind and decided that it didn't make the most strategic sense to do that, they called me a liar multiple times, said we had a fucking deal and you just broke it, and don't pretend you didn't just completely fuck me. So, did I not do what I told them I would do? Yes. Did I completely fuck them? No. You know what I mean? Like I'm aware of that part of this game is saying you're going to do one thing and then, doing something that you decide is actually in your better interest.
Interesting. Why is moving Romania to Bulgaria in your better interest?
No. This is about the disband.
Oh,
not disbanding Sevastopol.
Okay.
Just to clarify, sorry, this is going back to the build phase. This was right after. So this was after I decided to keep Sevastopol.
Gotcha. I get it. Yeah.
So they were understandably upset that I had done something, decided to do something other than we had discussed. But I don't think I completely fucked them. Like I think they're overreacting.
I think you are correct, and I am surprised that is that big of a deal, to be honest.
Yes, as was I. I felt like they were also overreacting.
Okay, but so was the bounce in Bulgaria here arranged, though? Did you?
Okay, it wasn't. It was not arranged. It was not arranged.
Ah, so is this sort of the beginning of the dissolution of any
Yeah,
Russian-Turkish relationship?
absolutely. After their strong sort of, you completely fucked my position after I didn't do that. So I went to Bulgaria so that they couldn't go to Bulgaria with Khan.
That's a strong anti-Turkish move.
Yes. I had to decide whether to bounce them in the Black Sea or in Armenia. I thought better to keep that army out of Armenia.
I think that's probably wise. You know, though, it's funny. If you moved to the Black Sea, you would have actually bounced Khan and Bulgaria with that one move. So you wouldn't have even needed to move them.
Oh, yes.
So that's kind of interesting. But I do think that you're probably right that Armenia is the more concerning place for you.
Right. Because then it's a guess on whether you, in the fall, like do you bounce black, and then if they just sit and hold, they can sneak into Armenia.
Yeah.
Not that they would do that, but it's possible.
Okay, so if you're kind of getting ready to fight with Turkey now, what's your chatting with Italy and Austria looking like?
So I think by this point there's a three-way chat, and I think there's been a three-way chat for at least a year or two, where the two of them are trying to get me to stab Turkey. At this point, the way I see it is when your ally is in a bad position, that's a good reason for you to stop being their ally. Right? Like if Turkey is not positioned necessarily, I mean, not always, but in this case I felt like Turkey is ill-positioned to fight Austria and Italy, and didn't really seem to be that enthusiastic to remedy that. I'd made suggestions in previous turns. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that to reposition your fleets, get them facing out instead of facing towards me? Here's what I would do. And they did not seem open to my ideas at all. So it's sort of like, you're ill-positioned to fight, to work with me. You don't seem to want to remedy that. So that seems like a good reason for me to maybe consider my other options.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
So I was pretty much wanting to try to normalize relations with Austria.
Well, that's interesting, and I guess it's going to kind of work out. But I see you're still tapping Budapest as well.
There's still distrust there, but I don't think they took that to be the worst thing. Because didn't do anything, wasn't supported.
And I guess now that I've stabbed Germany, I guess you and Germany have sort of made up in the north.
Yes, in a sense, yeah. I've sort of been trying to say, Germany, I'm so sorry. I know now you have to go fight France. I'm worried about France. I want you to go fight France. I'm not going to attack you anymore.
And you even support his move of Skagerrak to North Sea, although Germany cuts that.
Right. I mean, if I can get him out of Skagerrak, I'm happy to have him there.
No, North Sea is a better place for him to be from your perspective.
Absolutely.
Gives him much more opportunity to attack me instead of you.
Yeah, I mean, the whole game of me and Germany was Germany. From the moment I stabbed Germany, it was Germany, I'm so sorry, let's make up. Germany being like, yes, please, and then me attacking him some more. Sorry, Wes.
That is interesting. My perception had been the opposite. I was thinking that Germany has lost the trust of everybody who's around Germany. Germany has, betrayed England early on by not working with England and working with me against England instead. And I thought Germany had betrayed you as well, because I thought that the Scandinavian scuffle was Germany's doing.
No, it was totally England's fault, but I fully accept responsibility for my part.
And
all that chaos. So interesting.
It is interesting. Going to the fall, we see Germany is beginning to actually have some effectiveness in fighting back just a little bit. He does take back Holland, although happily for me, at the same time, I gained London and Liverpool. But what's happening on your end down here in the southeast?
Just trying to play defense, and
it's effective.
This was a turn where I almost trusted Austria. I almost fell for his line of BS. Because he almost had me. He was, we had a plan. We were going to move on Turkey, and I thought to myself, you know what? Don't risk it. It's not worth it.
And
it's small, and I don't think this guy's being honest.
And this is this season and seasons like this are why Austria and Italy are going to last, because the two of them trust each other seemingly almost implicitly.
Yeah.
Though their moves don't always seem to make the most sense.
Right.
You know, you and Austria don't trust each other, and Austria is still trying to attack you, and you and Turkey aren't working together, and Turkey is trying to attack you.
That's right.
Clearly. So because of that, Austria and Italy are looking a lot stronger than if they had a unified kind of opposition.
Absolutely.
It's almost as like the level of opposition between you and Turkey, along with you and Austria, Italy, and Turkey, is almost as if you and Turkey can't talk to each other.
Well, effectively we can't, because from my perspective, and obviously I'm biased here, but from my perspective, even after I misled Turkey about, I didn't say, hey, I changed my mind, I'm actually going to keep Sevastopol, because, I didn't want them to build a fleet in Ankara.
Yeah, but that didn't seem like such a big deal.
To them, it was a huge breach of trust, and they kind of lost it. But from my perspective, after that, I said, immediately after the term went through, I said, here's why I did that. Here's why I couldn't trust you. I still want to work with you. And from my perspective, from the rest of the game, I continue to be like, I want to work with you. Here's what I would like to see. What do you think? And they just wouldn't respond, or they wouldn't respond constructively. They just would do other things. They wouldn't, I would say, what about this suggestion? And they would just be like, they wouldn't respond to, no, I'm not comfortable with that, or, here's what I'd rather do. It was none of that, sort of constructive team building stuff, which is what needs to happen if there's distrust, right? Like, here's what I'd like to see. Well, I'm not going to do that, but I would be willing to do this. Okay, I'll meet you halfway, right? That's diplomacy in a nutshell. And that just was not happening. So
yeah, that's a pity.
Yeah, for me too, because I did want to repair that, especially when Austria sort of screwed me over. But here, Austria kind of screwed themselves over because they don't get a build, right? And they're in Trieste.
Yeah, it's just not really a place they needed to be in.
No.
So like, you and Turkey are having a whole diplomatic problem. Austria and Italy are having a big tactical issue.
That's right.
They're not really building upon their successes diplomatically because they are making some very strange moves, basically.
Yeah.
So build phase, Turkey loses a fleet, not the fleet in Black Sea because Turkey still doesn't trust you and wants to fight you, but the fleet in the East Med because Turkey apparently wants to invite Italy for tea, and at the same time, Austria can't build because Austria doesn't have any home supply centers empty, and you have neither builds nor destroys here.
But you get to build 2 more sparkling fleets.
Thank goodness, because otherwise that naughty Italian expeditionary force might have done some damage.
Yeah.
But as we see, they do not, and Italy actually doesn't even try to attack me. Italy tries to predict my moves and counter the moves that Italy imagines I might do. Tries to get me to put a unit in Marseille this season because Italy wants to prevent me from building another fleet. That's their plan instead of trying to take anything from me, which I thought was interesting. But there's no way to start an attack on someone.
If it worked, it would have worked, but it didn't work.
If it worked, their plan was for me to move Burgundy to Marseille and Marseille to Spain. So their plan is for me to just be defending myself. So it's just kind of not really a good use of those units, I feel like.
Yeah, certainly not the most. Yeah,
but I see you are again actively, I think, using Norway for support. What are you supporting with Norway?
I think I'm supporting you into the North Sea.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I remembered asking you for that support. And Germany, again, this is something Germany's been doing, tapping Norway to cut your potential supports. And this time it actually pays off.
Yeah, I could have just taken Sweden, though. Why didn't I do that?
That's true. That is true. But I guess you had made your pact with Germany and you wanted to keep it. You already had enough enemies, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't need Berlin to go to Silesia or Prussia. That front was sort of clear. We kept that DMZ. They were fighting you.
Yeah, and in the southeast, I see still not much happening really. So
no, basically, I'm just playing defense as best I can.
Yeah, and so is Austria, and like to a certain extent, Italy, because Italy's forces are divided. So Italy doesn't have enough units there to effectively prosecute war with Turkey, and the only one who's trying to attack anything is Turkey, and it's semi-effective. But not very much. Going to the fall, we see that Turkey attempts to take Sevastopol, but you anticipate it, and so it doesn't get anywhere. And Turkey loses Bulgaria because Turkey made enemies out of all three of you, so you all attacked Bulgaria.
This is the moment when the AIR finally, in the fall of 1905, at long last, kicks into gear, and the three of us are like, you know what, screw Turkey. I think we've all had our fill. Let's just make some moves.
Yeah. And in the north, I see you finally do take Sweden from Germany. So makes sense that you didn't do it in the spring, because there was no point in doing it too soon.
That's right. I guess that there was no the chances that it would be defended in the fall would be low, right? Like Kiel's not going to go to Denmark.
Right. That wasn't very likely. And it wouldn't have been very useful for anything but defending Sweden, so.
Right.
So really unbalanced and okay season for you. You're back to your prior strength. And you do get a build, which is a fleet in North Coast, which I remember I was not very happy about.
This was, yeah, you were seriously miffed about that.
Yeah. This was when I actually didn't want you to build a fleet in North Coast. I think this was actually when I asked you. I don't think I asked you earlier, because I don't think I cared about you building fleets in St. Pete earlier, because you couldn't have attacked me directly with them.
Right.
But now England is gone. It's just me there.
And so I told you that I was going to do this, and I did it, and genuinely it was for defense.
And, I understand, but it just needed to not be a fleet in St. Pete, at least not North Coast.
Sure. Well, I mean, if I hadn't done that, you would have just swarmed me, right? Like, no question.
I'm not sure. I mean, probably. But I might have just taken the chance to go south and fight Italy. Like, this actually resolved me that I wanted to go after you. So, like, the build definitely made me more hostile than I would have been. And in my head, I was thinking, this means war. Now,
not just in your head. You said that. That was one of your messages.
I don't know if I said it in those words, but
it's pretty close to that.
I might have said something like, "Well, you've made your decision then."
What did you say?
I might have said, "If you build a fleet, it will be an act of war," but I don't think I said.
Okay, you did. Okay, maybe you didn't say it's right in those. That was the tone, anyhow. Oh yeah, you said, "I think any Russian fleets are an invitation to war," and I said, "I'm just trying to defend myself," and you said, "All right then." So I think you made we both said our piece. Your intentions were clear. I really just wanted to be able to defend Norway.
Yeah, I was thinking that, if you have any additional fleets, I'm definitely going to want to make sure that I suppress that threat using whatever means are available to me. And since I have about 4 fleets up there, I have some means available.
Yeah, I mean, I also didn't really want you to go against Italy too strongly immediately, because I needed Italy's help to finish off Turkey.
Yeah, if you hadn't built that fleet, I was probably going to go after Italy, because Italy had just attacked me, and even though Italy pulled back, I frequently will go after whoever's most recently attacked me if I don't have some other reason to do something else. So until you distracted me with your additional fleet build, I was going to go for Italy. But,
yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to break Turkey without Italian fleets.
Well, I could see that. I mean, like, after this season, though, or after this build phase, though, Turkey doesn't have a fleet in Black Sea anymore. So even without Italian help, I think you would have beaten them.
Yeah, you're right. You
would have had to trust a lot in Austria not going after you, and you would have to have gotten some Austrian help instead. But this is the point in the game where I start trying to turn Germany into my janissary and get Germany to attack you, and that is why Germany tries these moves to Prussia and Silesia right now. And my plan is to send everything against Russia, all units attack Russia. It could have worked out better, as we'll see. But,
for both of us.
Yeah. I mean, at least I didn't lose any ground by doing this.
I mean, basically, you're in a position where you have no real threat.
I have no weaknesses anymore, that's right. Because England being gone and Germany being weakened means I dominate the westernmost part of the board. I have a strong corner position.
Italy is in no position to really fight you in any substantial way.
Right. And I'm trying to get Italy to pull back even more, pull out of Tyrrhenian Sea, because there's no real reason for Italy to be there other than preparedness for fighting me.
Mm-hmm.
And Italy is not going to be accommodating in that respect.
Understandably.
Yeah.
Because they don't need a third fleet in the east.
No, they don't. They really don't, but it would certainly make me more comfortable for them to have a third fleet in the east. And I'm also trying to get Italy and Austria to attack you, or alternatively, if they're not going to attack Russia, I want them to fight each other, because I need there to be more division in the east in order for me to be able to make a solo bid. But as we'll see, that is not really what appears to be going on here.
I mean, between the three of us, the sentiment was kind of, if any of us stabs the other, we'll just throw to you. So we were well aware that us fighting benefits you.
Very understandably. And I make some mistakes myself here in my... I think I intelligently defend myself against the predictable upcoming Italian attack, but I shouldn't have given up Holland to Germany. I shouldn't have let him keep Holland, because I was just trying to be nice to my supposed janissary. But Germany wasn't going to be a loyal janissary in any case.
No, because, well, you had stabbed him first. So
yeah. And so I needed that fleet build. I didn't get it. And Germany is also, we're going to turn on me. So the next few years, see you more and more defeating your enemies. Turkey is about to disappear here, clearly. And meanwhile, Germany is not doing his part that I had hoped he would do to get that Russian power under control for me. And Austria is also kind of obstructing that, because...
Austria wants Munich. Like, that is Austria's next center.
Yeah, I know Austria wants that. And I'm just thinking, why would I give that to you, Austria? You've done nothing at all for me, and you're not looking at even attacking Russia, who is my only real enemy other than Italy, who is your ally. So the only reason to give Austria Munich is just out of desire to get rid of Germany for me. And I can keep Germany alive in Munich like forever if I want to, because this is a stalemate line position, and I can just keep on granting support, and Germany will certainly support himself. But, Germany starts to do things that are rebellious. And Italy again pulls back a bit from attempting to fight me a little here. Italy doesn't use Piedmont for anything aggressive. And Italy and Austria do this weird bounce of Venice and Tyrolia, Vienna.
Yeah, I don't know why.
A whole bunch of, weirdness. I don't think there was any point to it that I can see. Like, tactically, I think maybe it was just to maybe make it seem like they might not be in perfect sync. But it ends up being pointless, I would say. And so here is where my whole plan is falling apart, but also no one is advancing against me, and no one's going to advance against me because, that's the strength of my current position. As for you, I see you are, you're done more or less with Turkey, and you are preparing to move everything west as much as possible while defending Scandinavia.
That's the idea.
And there's not really much change in direction. I'm just going to go through these last few seasons.
But basically the alliance structures stay as they were.
Yeah, exactly. So you do briefly occupy Budapest, but...
Oh, this was interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Austria told me that you had said if they stabbed me, you would fight Germany, I think something along those lines.
Probably.
Yeah. And they were like, have they said something similar to you? Well, you hadn't. You had very few words from me after I built that fleet. But I didn't need Austria to know that. So I was like, yeah, France is saying that if I stab you, then they'll stab Germany. You'd said nothing of the sort, but I needed sort of to keep the idea that we were talking as a possibility.
It gives you more leverage. I get it.
Austria came up with this crazy plan, like, oh well, let's orchestrate a stab.
Oh, I see.
To fool France into thinking something that so I just went along with it. I said, well, being in Budapest gives me a little more leverage, and why not?
And I was just sitting there totally confused. What's going on? What are you guys doing?
I mean, right, that was kind of the point, is to make you...
Three of you...
second guess your understanding of the alliance structure, but it didn't really come to anything.
No, not much at this point. Yeah, it's a very unfortunate couple of years for me though, because like if Germany had stayed on side and not had this season where they were trying to advance against me or recover ground against me, then you wouldn't have successfully moved those units west, and I maybe could have done a few things differently. But Germany doesn't want to be a janissary. Germany wants to, fight and breathe free and live like Braveheart, like the William Wallace and Braveheart, screaming freedom with his last breath. So, that's what Germany gets.
I mean, it's always fun to see the 3 at once, 3 for the price of 1.
Yeah, but all those X's. This looks like a dead face or something.
Yeah, exactly. For once, we all sort of coordinated and said, well, let's just get this over with.
Yeah.
Come out of his misery.
I thought Germany had done stuff to tick everyone else off, but apparently it's just, me who has beef with Germany.
I mean, a little bit, but I think I was more the aggressor in our relationship from the beginning.
Yeah.
So.
That's what it sounded like when you described it just now. I was surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's not much is happening elsewhere. The position in the southwest for me is beginning to take on its final shape.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way Italy's going to be able to ever advance against me further because I'm getting into a stalemate position. And as for you and me in the north, neither of us has that many units up there. So for that reason, it might be tough for either of us to advance because Italy's not willing to step back and let me have my freedom of movement to fight you.
Mm-hmm.
And you do have builds from here because you take both Berlin and Kiel.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't have the prescience to
vacate St. Pete.
Yeah, or I didn't think it was safe enough. Or I wish I had, but.
And anyway, this is the final season. When it ends in the winter, we agree to a draw, and so none of us actually get those final builds.
Yeah.
It was a good game, I thought. It was competitive. It was interesting. It moved back and forth. But I really wish that there had been some more movement and shifts in those alliances out in the east, because I really felt like there was at least one person who didn't need to be in the draw. Either Italy or Austria could have eliminated each other, or maybe we could have all ganged up on you.
Yeah, I think a four-way draw is kind of the least satisfying outcome. Not the least satisfying outcome, but it's less satisfying than a 3-way draw.
I tend to agree. It was a good game. It had a lot of good play in it. Yeah,
it certainly felt like a long 8 years.
Yeah, and it's surprising. It was only 8 years.
But I think we were doing 2-day turns, and so it sort of it had been going on for quite a bit of real world time. Then it sort of was like, if it ends here, I won't be too sad.
Exactly. Do you have any takeaways you want to give the audience?
Geez, takeaways.
The wisdom you've gained from your experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think I learned a lot from this game, in terms of, well, I guess I prefer to play as an alliance player. I think it's more fun that way. I think you make more progress that way. This game I tried something else. Even though I would have preferred to have a strong juggernaut or something, it didn't work out that way. So I sort of was like, let me try something else.
Yeah, I know.
So I did okay. Obviously wasn't the most satisfying, but
yeah, it was a fun game.
Yeah.
As for me, I think I also learned some valuable lessons that I should probably try to remember for future games, about taking the measure of the characters of the other players really well, and sussing out if there's an alliance on the board that's unbreakable, and if there is, then I should definitely try and go after that as much as possible with an ally, myself. Like if you and I had worked together here on this final,
which we talked about the possibility of, actually.
Yeah, if you and I worked together here on this final map, there's no reason why we couldn't have destroyed either Austria or Italy, at least one of them.
Well, and the fact that we drew here, I think, is kind of a fluke in a way.
Yeah, it is. Like I think we were all basically just tired of the game.
In a sense, yes, sort of like, yeah, and you're right. You know, yeah, exactly. Like there was still obviously plenty of play left, but it was a little bit of fatigue, I think, and
exactly.
which is understandable. Yeah, I think for me, something I maybe learned is about reversing course. For example, you know, I was with started as an ally of Turkey, and then switched to the AIR. And if I just jumped in with the AIR sooner, maybe we would have been done with Turkey fast enough to actually push west with some speed.
Yeah. Maybe you guys would have conquered everything. You know, maybe it would have been a triple victory between the AIR.
Now that alliance could have fallen apart, and if I would be sitting here if I'd made that choice, saying, "Ugh, I should have stuck with Turkey." So it's impossible to say.
That's true. The one thing that seems pretty clear is that A and I were very solid together. And so I guess this just demonstrates the strength of that kind of a committed alliance.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for chatting.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Good to see you again. And
always a pleasure.
I had fun. My thanks go out to those named on the screen at this time for their assistance in making this channel and its growth possible. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it entertaining. Till next time, the Lord of Man, out.